I remember the original Toyota 4Runner. Do you remember that truck? I know I do because I really wanted one of those trucks. That was one of the very first original SUVs, really. It was a rugged off-road truck with more utility. Well, 35 years later, things have changed a lot, but one thing that hasn't changed is the 4Runner is still a rugged off-road truck, but now the top just doesn't come off. This is the Venture trim of the 4Runner. It's about an extra $7,000. But what do you get? Well, first of all, have a look. It really does look the part if you want something that's looking really, really rugged. You get blacked out accents everywhere. Even the Toyota emblem is blacked out. You get a black grille. You get a hood scoop. Check out the Yakima roof rack. That's black. Black mirrors. And you get black Predator steps on the bottom. You get 17-inch graphite-looking alloy wheels, and of course you can't miss the TRD off-road emblem on it. And look, the sun has come out for a second. Awesome. Check it out. You get a black roof spoiler, and then you have a blacked-out logo, just like the front, and the 4Runner's blacked out. I really like the look of this. You have a trailer hitch here. Now, here's one thing, though. Let's open it up. Ugh. That's right. It does not have a power liftgate, and nowadays everything's got a power liftgate, and it's actually not a very light liftgate to actually pull down either, so some people might have an issue with that. One thing I do like though are the embedded speakers in the liftgate, and that's really handy when you're doing things in the back, which I can see a lot of people doing. You have a nice large bench here. So you can sit here, you can eat your lunch or whatever, or if you're using this as an activity vehicle, let's say you're going dirt biking, this is a great place to gear up, put your boots on and things, and you can still listen to your music. Now, in the back here, you get a lot of room. This is a lot bigger than my Highlander, for instance. I brought along this monstrous, this is our stroller case, our stroller travel case. And just to give you an idea how big it is, it's massive. It is absolutely massive, fits in here without any issue whatsoever. Also in the rear here, you have a 400 watt, 120 volt plug, as well as a 12 volt outlet as well. Of course, if you need more room, you can fold down both those second row seats. I can't do that right now because I have a car seat installed. Okay, let's check it out on the inside. Starting from the back seats, those don't slide back and forth like our Highlander do, but no issue with room or leg room for the kids. I have the child seat in the back and a booster back there. There's room for 3 adults in the back. Up front here in the seats, you'll find they are synthetic leather, which is probably good, easy to clean up if you get really muddy, if you go 4x4ing or something. These have the TRD embroidered in the headrest. And up front, it's pretty basic. You have your tachometer and you have your speedometer. In the middle, you have a small information display, but it shows you everything that you need to see and important things like what drive modes for 4x4ing that you have. Then you have an 8-inch display audio system in the center that does come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This Venture trim also comes with navigation. This is what I really like though, is the temperature controls. You have dual climate control, but the knobs are huge and they're just so easy. It's just, there's no guessing of buttons of where to actually go up or down. It's just like boom, boom, boom. You want max cold, you just throw that thing all the way to the left. I like that. This has heated seats in the front, not in the rear, but for more air, this is what I like. They have a power rear window, so you can roll that up or down for that back window. And if you want even more air, you have a sunroof here as well. All right, we're in behind the wheel of the new 4Runner now. So what's under the hood, first of all? Well, it's a 4-liter V6. It doesn't put out record horsepower, 270 horsepower, and that's matched to a 5-speed automatic transmission, which is kind of odd nowadays when transmissions have 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10 speeds now. So without as many gear ratios, you do have to press your foot down a little bit more to get that transmission to kick down. It's just kind of like old school. There's nothing wrong with it though. The 4Runner does have hydraulic steering, which is a really nice feel. Now brake-wise, one thing I've noticed though is that these brakes, they grab kind of lower down opposed to near the top. And we just came from a Toyota product and they are totally different. Let's hit the brakes right now. Now, it's one thing that you do get used to though. So I'm just saying, coming from a Highlander and getting into here, there's a big difference. And also one of the big differences is the suspension, which we'll talk about in a second. But you know, let's talk about, this is a good utility vehicle. Obviously, I don't have anything to tow, but I did use the tow hitch, and this will tow 5,000 pounds. Now check this out. How is this for a new Toyota BMW combination? You thought it was just a Supra, right? So yeah, there's a Toyota towing my BMW bicycle. Yeah, great utility, lots of room in the back to put the kids' bicycles, scooters, what have you, and of course that trailer hitch, you know, it's kind of underused with just a bike rack, but yeah, it does work very, very well. So let's get to the ride. Well, there are different suspension packages, let's say. If you go into like the limited 4Runner, you get a sports enhanced suspension, and I don't know what that's like. I have not driven that. And then you get into this, which comes with the kinetic dynamic suspension system. So it has thicker stabilizer bars that are hydraulically operated, and it can help reduce body roll. And yeah, there's a little bit for sure. You are in a high up pickup truck, but it is definitely noticeable that it's not that much. Then there's one more suspension setup, and that is with the TRD Pro, and that comes with the Fox shocks. So that's for the real true off-roader, but I think this one will suit a lot of people for whatever type of off-roading you're gonna do. Now the ride is fairly compliant. We're driving around town right now. We have some nice speed bumps, lots of rough roads, but don't kid yourself. This is still a body on frame truck, all right? It does not have rear independent suspension, so you will definitely feel like you're driving a truck. And you'll definitely notice it if you're, say, doing some higher speed logging roads, let's say, and you have the washboard type of road, and it's gonna really hop you around quite a bit compared to if you had another SUV that had independent rear suspension. But you know what? There is a plus, and that is off-road. This thing really, really excels. This Venture is obviously four-wheel drive, but it does have a locking differential. You have a manual selector here for your two-wheel drive, your 4 high or your 4 low, and up top though, you actually have a multi-terrain select. Same thing as you would find in the Toyota Tacoma. So what do? Well, depending on your situation or your conditions, you can actually just press the button for on or off, and it's going to bring up a display. In your middle, it's going to say select four-wheel drive. You're going to select four-wheel drive. You're going to choose what type of terrain you are going in. And then also, if you're going to be doing a little bit more gnarly stuff, you have on here, you have a speed controller for your multi-terrain select. So just think of it as a cruise control for off-roading. You can select that and it will just crawl you over. I didn't have a chance to test it with this 4Runner, but I did test it at a launch event for the Tacoma, and we were basically crawling over boulders with it, and you just set it in that crawl mode, and I was gonna say hands off, but no, you still have to steer, but you don't have to do anything with your pedals. It just controls all the traction control for you, and it does a better job than most people could possibly do by driving it themselves. A couple of things I noticed on this Venture trim when we were going off-road though are, first, I think it could use some skid plates, but you can get those if you go for the TRD Pro. And those Predator steps, I think they look good, but I think they're more of a hindrance really if you're going to be doing some off-roading. They could just get caught on things and rocks and things like that. I understand the Nerf bars that they're attached to protect the body, but these Predator steps just kind of stick out. You know what, I kind of like this Venture trim because it has everything that most people need most of the creature comforts. You have that ruggedness to it. Now, if you want a more luxurious ride and trim, then you'll want to go into, let's say, something like the Limited. So the Limited, you get heated and cooled leather seats, not just fake leather. You also get a full-time all-wheel drive system available, and you get that different suspension that could be a little bit more plush. Now, one thing I'm wondering if that luxury trim has or hasn't, I still don't think you get a power liftgate with the luxury trim, or the Limited trim, I must say. But I cannot get used to this. First, there was the no power liftgate, but the turn signals, there is no, I wouldn't say automatic, but the one-touch 3-click turn signals that is pretty well standard across the board on all vehicles now. This one doesn't have it, and it drives me nuts. Every time I do a lane change, I click on, expecting it to click 3 times for me, and it just clicks once. Just like that. You actually have to physically click it all the way over. Hey, these are the 2020s now. Is it a deal breaker? No, but I really think it should have it. At least it does have auto up-down windows on all windows though. The 4Runner is just one of those vehicles that you either love it or you love it less. You just can't hate the 4Runner because it does everything that you ask it to do. Yes, it doesn't have the latest and greatest in technology and gadgets. It doesn't get the best fuel economy, but you get everything that you need. But one thing though is that year after year, the 4Runner still is on the top of the list when it comes to resale value. And that's one thing that everyone can love.